Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 233 of the Terminal City FC podcast, part of the Area 51 Sports Network. Josh Roy joined alongside Nathan Dirk, as per usual, talking all things football. So, a rare Whitecaps loss with a decent first half, a sloppy second, a sloppy, very sloppy game all around, one of the games of all time. Physically hard. Unfortunately, Whitecaps couldn't even get a point in Houston.
Yeah, definitely a tale of two halves. Very easy to say. In the first half, it felt much more even, I would say. Whitecaps,
Yeah.
you could argue, maybe had the bulk of possession, but Houston maybe had the better opportunities. There wasn't that many shots on target, especially for the Whitecaps in the first half. There was only a single shot on target. Most of that play, again, it's trying to figure out how to break down that low block, which time and time again, whether it's because the Whitecaps keep pushing teams back into their defensive third so often with their very high intensity, high pressure style, or that's how the team sets up against them. That's what they're facing these games, and they need to figure out how to break these low blocks down. We can talk about this all we want, but it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're Premier League, whether you're Bundesliga, whether you're the J League or here. Low blocks are things that suffocate teams, and it is very, very difficult no matter who you are.
Yeah, when you're facing like 7, 8 guys in the box, it's hard to, move the ball around, try to find those half spaces. Yeah, even with a team that's very good in attack like the Whitecaps, it's tough. And it's something that you'll see often in MLS that has hindered the Whitecaps already this season. But there's a lot of things that could have changed the game. Houston's Diade Semescu went down hard. It's down for a while. They had to get the ambulance out. Thankfully, he recovered in hospital and is okay. He's at home. Oliver Larraz picked up a hip injury, it looks like, and had to be taken out. But another thing that changed the game was in the second half. Yohei Takoka tries to chase down the ball, but he clips Bogush. You don't like it, but it's part of the rules. Dogso, clear red.
Yeah. It's one of those where VAR will not overrule the call on the pitch. And the call on the pitch, I would argue, could have gone either way. The angle was not a goal-scoring opportunity in my mind. On top of that, Laborda, in my mind, was further enough back where he was almost even with the ball carrier, and he had the inside lane. But anytime your goalkeeper comes out of the 18-yard box, the possibility of Doxo is amplified 10 times. So I don't think anyone has a legitimate call against it, even though you might feel hard done by. I do. But even though I feel hard done by, I don't really feel I have a leg to stand on, given the current rules of the game.
Me neither.
On top of that, to add insult to injury, yesterday it was announced that Yohei has received a fine from MLS disciplinary committee for failing to leave the pitch in a timely manner.
This one I don't understand.
That one I don't understand because they were waiting for VAR. He was there waiting with the referee. The referee wasn't ushering him off, forcing him off. They were both waiting to hear from VAR. As soon as VAR happened, he shrugged his shoulders and walked off. So I'm not too sure what the expectation there is. Are you supposed to go off and then if VAR overrules it, you come back on? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, this one I don't understand. So Isaac Boehmer came in for his first appearance of the season, made a big save, but fortunately the winning goal
was a clear break on net, no one there, and he had to come out and make his body big. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to keep.
On winning goal was apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's just tough way for them game.
yeah, it was a tough way to end the game, especially a goal in the 96th minute by Guillermo. I think the lesson to take from this is that there isn't much of a lesson to take from this. You are going to have games where this happens, especially over a season that lasts 10 months out of the year. Multiple competitions that you're facing, Whitecaps being in 4. It was a bad beat at the end, close to the tail end of a tough road trip. And the fact that it's only their second loss of the season in 13 matches, basically a third of the season done so far. It's not a bad record overall. There are things in this game I think that they can take away that they can learn from. And Sorensen was talking about that, about what he saw was, and he actually called the second half when we were asking him about it, he called the second half stupid. He said the players didn't execute the game plan. So there was a game plan that was talked about in the locker room at halftime in order to figure it out. Players didn't execute it. Now, whether that was because, the intensity in the entire stadium kind of died with the two injuries, especially the one injuries to Semiseku. I apologize, I'm getting that name wrong. But that seemed to suck the air right out of the stadium. And yeah, so I think that the only real lesson you can take is that this is one of those ones where you have to sleep off, get up,
change the game.
Yeah, just try again. It sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Same with Laraz's injury and the Ohe tackle getting set off. Those big moments just changed the game.
Yeah.
Well, games like this happen a lot in MLS.
Yeah, Laraz's injury could be interesting because Andres Cubas, who did come on for Laraz, picked up a yellow card. Now that is now yellow card accumulation. He is going to miss the game in San Diego. We're not yet sure about how Laraz is doing. So right now, who's going to be playing alongside Sebastian Berhalter? I don't know. Do we see Jivan Badwal drop down into the 6? If both those players are unable to play, that would be the most likely scenario in my mind. So we're talking about the season as it is right now. Like we said, 13 games are done. That's roughly half or a third of the season is
not half.
Yeah, kind of is done and underway. And it's kind of given us, I would say, a big enough sample size to take a look at where's the squad right now, what's working, and what could potentially be where the Whitecaps are going to be looking in the summer to add to this. So I put that question out to you first, Josh. What do you think, especially with the changes that they I guess the Whitecaps were forced into making on the wings? Has that worked out? Is that an area where they might need to look for additional reinforcement, or is there going to be changes in that area? And where else on the pitch where might they be either forced into looking or want to look on their own accord?
Possibly down the wings. Maybe if you move someone out. It also depends on Ryan Gauld.
Yeah.
Because we still haven't seen him this season. Midfield will also depend if Sebastian Berhalter leaves after the World Cup.
Yeah. I think those are the two big unknowns right now. One, with Ryan Gauld, we know he's coming back at some point.
At some point, but we just don't know.
We don't know what kind of player is coming back. I mean, when you've been out injured for that long, and he's already tried to come back and then had to go back out for additional surgery, is he going to be the same player physically? I have no questions about his mentality. He's going to be there. Even when he did come back for that little bit, he was throwing himself into tackles and everything else. It was fantastic just to have him out on the pitch. But when he can't survive the 90 minutes, there's still something else going on. Is his body going to be able to keep up to what he wants to do himself? And I don't think we really have that question at all right
until
now.
We see him on the pitch.
Exactly.
We don't.
Sebastian Berhalter, big question. He is on the last year of his contract. He is, in all likelihood, let's say it right now, he's going to be heading to the World Cup. If he's not heading to the World Cup, Mauricio Pochettino he's
out of his mind.
Out of his mind. What does that do in terms of he is on an MLS MVP player tear right now? I think in the MLS MVP power rankings, he's number 2 in the league. Now, this is going to be up to the Whitecaps. One, can they re-sign him? I don't know. I'd say I think that's a big if question, because if they can re-sign him, why have they not done it already? We know that they've been trying. Is it a question of
they offered a lucrative deal,
not know where the team's going to be? So let's just say right now the two options are either they have to sell him for some sort of money at the end of the World Cup, or they ride out to the end of his contract with the belief that him being on the team will help them to a supporter shield and possibly a deep run, if not an MLS Cup, and then they let him go on a free at the end. Is letting him go on a free with the possibility of him helping on those 2 trophies enough of a return, or do you need to follow the Whitecaps philosophy since they entered into MLS, in where you buy players at a very, very cheap or reasonable price tag, develop them over a number of years to be able to sell them at a high profit later on? And that's the question with Berhalter, is which one, like, do you follow with the model as is, or because the team of where it is right now, you let it ride? I would say it's one of those difficult questions to answer. I would say, and I mean, you can correct me if you think differently, Josh, but I don't think you upset the model for the player in this case. I think the possibility of trophies is
still up to the player.
But on top of that, it's only a possibility. It's only a possibility. Those are not guarantees.
Someone who doesn't want to be there anymore.
I think if you know he is not going to sign at the end of the season, you have to sell him and reinvest that money. You can't let him go for nothing.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Letting him go for nothing, I think. Again, this is a tough one, because it's your head being forced to overrule your heart. Your heart wants him to stay. Your heart wants him to fight and to continue fighting until the end of the season for whatever that possibility is. Your head needs to overrule in this case and say it is not smart business for the Whitecaps. And at the end of the day, it's a business. These are people doing their jobs. It's a weird way of thinking it, I think, for the rest of us, but this is their 9 to 5. So as much as we may hate it, it's the smart, reasonable, practical, pragmatic decision, if you will. I think a lot of people are going to hate that answer, but my hope is that people at least understand the manner of thinking as to where it comes. Other news to talk about: Ryan Alumi has been called up for a World Cup to represent Tunisia. This does officially end, as far as I know, this will officially end any chance that Canada has of calling him up in the future for Canada. As far as I know, I think he already did his one-time switch, because he had played. He played youth with Canada at some point. So this will lock Alumi in with the Tunisian national team. Bit hard for me, just like I said, because he comes from my hometown. So, but definitely, you want to wish him all the best.
Yeah, that's right.
With representing his nation of
Tunisia. First Whitecap to be
ancestors
called up for the World Cup. Obviously, we'll see a few more. Good on the kid. Hasn't played a lot of games for the Whitecaps. You also, speaking of transfers, you wonder if he maybe gets loaned out after the World Cup, and they bring
the thing is for as much as you want to give him, you need a backup to Brian White. Now, what you could also argue is maybe that backup becomes someone like Sabali. We know that he can play as a 9. He has in his career before.
That's his natural position.
Maybe it would be better for the development of Ryan Alumi if he does go out alone, where he's going to get minutes game in and game out, because these minutes that here or there, and it's like just a little bit later on, it kind of reminds you of Simon Betcher a little bit, where he was doing good for the minutes that he was getting. I would say Betcher was probably at a higher point of where Alumi was. I think Betcher maybe had a year or two on him, but it wasn't enough, and it was recognized by the player it wasn't enough, and that's why he ended up forcing a move himself.
Yeah, moved to Europe, and now he's in St. Louis. But you probably think that there'd be suitors for a loan for Alumi if he, it depends on how he does at the World Cup. They play Belgium, Sweden, Japan. Wait, no, they play Sweden, Japan, and the Netherlands in the World Cup.
Sweden will be an interesting game for them because Sweden hasn't been in a World Cup in a number of years. Japan is a good team.
And so is the Netherlands.
And Netherlands got to be at least considered a dark horse to win the whole thing, if not maybe a little bit higher than that. Netherlands have a lot of players that are in their absolute prime right now that might not be around for another World Cup. So they're going to be looking at themselves as the time is now.
Yeah.
But definitely all the best. As far as other players that could potentially be called up, we talked about Berhalter. I think you got to throw in Andres Kubas in that. That's a no-brainer.
Kubas is almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
Pretty much guaranteed.
If Ralph Priso is healthy before the World Cup, I think he's on the fringes right now for Canada.
But given the amount of injuries Canada has at the back line.
Exactly. If he can be healthy in time for it, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Like Kamal Miller and Luke DeForgeroll are injured.
Yeah.
Which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. Now, Kamal Miller, I think, is one of those guys that was on the fringes as well. But, yeah, and DeForgeroll, that's a big loss right there. Especially because he's a young up-and-coming guy.
Yeah, like the list of injuries Canada has at the back line, if depending on how it goes, you'd think that Ralph Priso would at least be considered.
My guess is we know there's that 55-man, 56-man short list out right now. He's on that list. We don't know that list, but he's on that list.
Yeah. Whitecaps have one more game before the World Cup break. As we mentioned, it's San Diego FC, who've kind of fallen off from last year. They had that big winless streak, which they eventually broke, I believe, on May 13th. Against Portland May 13th against Austin, where they smashed them 5-0. More on Austin later. So San Diego in their last game drew 3-3 against Cincinnati, and they are 10th in the Western Conference with a 4-5-5 record and 17 points.
Yeah, they're kind of following the St. Louis model of, come in on a tear in your first season and then fall off the radar a little bit in your second.
And they had injuries, but still.
San Diego is the team. They're fantastic at scoring goals, but they're unbelievably leaky at the back. They've had more games with 4+ goals than I think anyone else in the league right now. Including their last few right now. The number of goals. In fact, I think they had just not too long ago a 5-0 rout of, I want to say, Austin, who we'll be talking about a little bit later. San Diego is a team that I still think should creep into the playoffs, but they are suffering that sophomore slump a little bit. I would say not to the level of what say St. Louis did in their season, where they completely fell off the radar. You can even talk about the few bad years that Atlanta had after they won MLS Cup, although they're not doing that great this year either. But I feel that San Diego has enough in them and that they have a quality coach that can find the way back.
Right. They definitely can. They have Andres Dreyer, too, one of the best midfielders in the league. Of course, they still have that whole situation with Chucky Lozano. I think that's also a big cloud
It is a big cloud, especially when, I mean, I think it's quieted down, but earlier in the season, you had fans still chanting his name in the stadium.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be
He's not coming back. That bridge has been torched.
It's been long burned.
Yeah.
So, one thing for the Whitecaps is to contain Andres Dreyer because he has lit them up last season. He is a phenomenal midfielder. They have a very young back line, it looks like. I'm seeing a lot of the players are like in their early 20s, late teens.
There is a level of maturity I think that needs to develop with defenders in that you're seeing the whole game play out in front of you. It's something that it's actually talked about with defenders in hockey a lot, where when you draft them, it's defenders rarely ever start playing right out of a draft like a lot of forwards can. It takes them a little bit longer. One, you're 18, 19, your body just hasn't developed to the size that you're going to fully be like you are in your early 20s. I don't think that's as important in football, but the mental part of the game is, and you need to be able to read that in front of you and have that intelligence to go through. And when you talk about like cognitive abilities aren't fully developed until you're 25, you're asking a lot.
Totally. And maybe that might explain why they gave up so many goals, San Diego.
They have
28 goals for 23 against. Yeah.
23. Yeah, there's still a number of teams that have given up more than them, but not that many. On top of that, they've only won 1 out of their last 5. They're undefeated in 4. 3 draws are a part of that, but it was only that 5-0 win over Austin. Other than that, we're talking about big draws: 3-3 Cincinnati, 2-2 LAFC. Like there are games where it's 4+ goals.
Yeah, I mean, feels like they're slowly starting to figure it out. You would think, given the quality on the pitch, they'd figure it out and make the playoffs. But
let me put it this way: the Whitecaps are heading down there. It's their last game before the break. It's been a tough road trip. Yep. This is an opportunity to end on a positive. There's goals in this game. There's absolutely goals in this game.
And they don't play until like mid-July.
Yeah,
the World Cup break. Just give something to give the fans something to cheer for.
Yeah,
and
I mean the Canadian teams will at least have a Canadian championship in that break, so they'll get a little bit of a piece. But it'll be nice to leave
they
fans.
Don't play in MLS till the 16th, where they're in Chicago. So it's going to be tough. No Kubas, likely no Larraz, and no Takaoka.
Yeah, so we know, I mean, obviously when you write that team sheet, there's a couple of names or a few names that you can scratch in right away and the other thing that I would say is that Ranko Veselinovic is very, very close to being able to do a full 90 minutes. He talked about the 2 games that he's come on so far. And even the last one where he had a run out for, I think it was close to 20 minutes, half an hour. I think it was maybe more closer to the 20 minutes. But he said that he was still completely fine and could have played much longer after that.
You got to ease him in.
You have to, absolutely, especially since he hasn't played since last July, August.
But probably play him 90 minutes after the World Cup break.
Hands down. He'll be ready for that.
Yeah.
One more Vancouver team to talk about. Should we move on to the Rise?
Yeah, they got their first win of the season with a 2-1 win at Wanderers Ground in Halifax. And compared to the last 2 games, much improved, but still things to work on, like that final pass. But it paid off in the first half with DeFilippo getting her first of this season.
Good goal by DeFilippo. Also, I believe the first I believe it was this goal. It was the first assist from Anna Bout.
It was. She was the one that, chased down.
And had a great cutback to DeFilippo to make the goal. This is something that Anna Heinier-Moller has been talking about, that she wants to see more of Bout, especially with Bout playing more, wide, kind of trying to take that role over from, say, Holly Ward or Lisa Pechersky, who would have held it last year. This is how Bout gets into the lineup game in, game out. She was definitely more of a depth piece, last year. But the one thing that I thought was really interesting right from the get-go is it was a completely different formation. It was a 3-4-3 to start this game.
It was.
Where except in the defensive phase where you would see a player drop back to make it more of a 4-4-2. Okamoto would drop back on the left.
Like inverting, almost like a center back.
Previous games, it was more of a 4-4-2. Wasn't really working. I thought they did well. They came out aggressive. They were on the front foot. They pushed Halifax back in that first half. It was, I thought, a strong showing. Although, again, like the Whitecaps game, even though the Rise may have had the possession, it was the Tides who had the best chances in that first half. And I think we need to really, really credit, I want to say, is it Jessica? Yeah, Jessica Wolf, who stepped into goal, a debut for Wolf. McCaslin has been starting every game this season and
last season.
All but one last season.
Yeah.
But with McCaslin was on the bench for this one. Wolf stepped in for her debut, and I thought she played a no-nonsense, simple, effective game. And no fear.
No fear. What else? Big saves off Jordan Rhodes and Ciara Miller and Sarah Taylor of Halifax. Though the corner in the second half wasn't cleared, and Taylor pretty much just Rhodes poked it in past Wolf, but then just seconds later, Tumif was pulled down in the box, and Quinn just blasted that penalty.
Yeah, I mean Quinn's no nonsense when they step up to the spot. Picked the corner. Goalkeeper went the right way, but
too much power.
Too much power. You mentioned Tumif. I thought she was player of the match.
Yeah.
I thought she was phenomenal on the right. It's not often you see a defender want to get forward that much, where she was the one laying in crosses. She was the one, you're absolutely right, drew the penalty. Not only that, but hard but smart on tackles. This is a player. She is the last player to join the club.
She joined like a month ago.
Yeah.
From Australia.
I'm not 100% sure, but was this her first start?
I don't think so. I'm not too sure.
No, she did start in that Rapids game. But I thought this kind of was her coming out game. This was the game where we're like, all right, now I see what you're playing at.
Yeah.
Player of the match for me. It was absolutely phenomenal to watch both ends of the pitch. The ground she covered was,
Yeah, and Rise were outshot 17-7, but still managed to get the win. And hopefully a game like this shows like they're back on the right track, because they got AFC Toronto at Swangard this Saturday at 1 p.m.
Toronto, who they faced in their home opener way back when. That was a 3-2 loss. Honestly, it felt like it could have been a much worse loss. It was just from two quality moments that they were able to kind of pick up. I think I agree with you. They're not out of the woods yet, but there was a lot of positives in this game that I think is something they can work on. It'll be interesting to see if they keep the same shape going against Toronto, and you think of the quality players Toronto has, and whether or not they feel confident in maintaining a back line of three with Okamoto kind of pivoting in between the two back lines.
Yeah, back line of three that'll try to contain Kaylee Hunter.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, so
Rise, she absolutely is a hunter when it comes to the Rise. She always seems to pop up.
Yeah, at Swangard this Saturday. Good matinee game. If you can come to Swangard, might as well. Should be a good one. And hopefully this is the end of the championship hangover for the Rise.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it was pretty painful to watch the first three matches.
Oh yeah, especially the last two, but some improvement. Hopefully it's a step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
So, as we mentioned, Austin, they fired their head coach, Nico Estevez, and sporting director, Rodolfo Borrell, after a pretty poor start to the season.
Yeah. I will say they were not on my bingo card to be the next manager or head coach to fall. Definitely, it has been rough for Austin. Interesting that the sporting director went, a guy who's bringing in the players, and one of the players he brought in was Jaden Nelson, who played with the Whitecaps last year.
He has one goal, I think, in Nelson.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what they decide to do, which direction they go, where are they looking for coaches. I think, especially after this next match week, you might see a bunch more fall, because we're going to be getting that whole coach merry-go-round once World Cup ends. And I think a lot of MLS teams that are having questions about their head coaches might see this as the opportunity to pick up someone
who coached at the World Cup, whether it's a head coach.
Yeah, or with immense quality, right?
Yeah. I think losing 2-1 to SKC at home was the final straw.
Yeah, it is. And I'll say it right now, the Wiki being able to keep holding his job, it just they also just beat Galaxy not too long ago. So I mean he's holding
Greg
on.
Vanny still has a job. They beat Seattle 2-0 in Seattle.
I think Greg Vanny is going to be given an unbelievable amount of rope.
Yep.
The fact that he did so poorly and they still gave him a contract extension from last year.
I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow lasts till the end of the season.
Yeah, because I think right now Galaxy, they're on that playoff bubble. They're in 9th.
They are. Austin are 13th.
Yeah, so there you go. I think Vanny. Yeah, I think he'll survive. But Wiki, I don't get it.
Bill Neville is also surviving too with Portland.
Yeah, they kind of turned it.
Especially since Hard grilled him about his job.
I know, right? Like I said, I think he took it personally.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see where the coaching merry-go-round continues. For Austin, when you fire the coach and the sporting director, that means there's a crisis. A big crisis.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. You and I have a game to talk about.
Yeah, but first, I'll not talk about this game too much, but I'll do it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Chelsea, 7 straight final losses at Wembley. Haven't won a domestic trophy in 8 years. Started slow, grew into the game. Man City, thankfully in the first half, were toothless. At times, they was there for the taking, but the shot wasn't good. The final pass wasn't good. João Pedro was trying to get around Kustanov and Gay. By the way, there totally should have been a penalty before halftime. Kustanov didn't even get the ball and just clipped João Pedro. And then also Kustanov just pushed Uriel Hato in the second half. No penalty there. Could have been at least 2 to 3 penalty shouts. Referees, I don't know what it is with what they have against Chelsea at Wembley. Lukaku was offside in the 2022 FA Cup. Kovacic was wrongfully sent off in 2020. There was a handball for the Tielemans goal in 2021 and so on. But
you dread walking down that tunnel because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. But Antoine Semenyo made the difference with that great backheel goal. No chance for Robert Sanchez, who, by the way, was wearing the Petr Cech helmet, who has been due to his concussion. You might as well just keep it because he's been making great saves with it.
You know what? It's the story of Jacques Plante in hockey, right? In Man of the Mask.
Yeah, and Sanchez this season, compared to his previous 2, has been really good. And it could have been much worse if not for him making those big saves. Same with Levi Colwill playing in the back. Good to have him back. Just how commanding he is from the back and how smart he is. And I don't know, Cole Palmer I didn't even know he played in the FA Cup final, just purely invisible. And City win the FA Cup, the last trophy of Pep's managerial career at City.
His currently illustrious career with Man City, that we'll see if he gets to keep all those trophies or what happens when these charges against Man City finally get done.
Yeah, I mean, losing the FA Cup sucks. It was a long shot anyway, but man, it just sucks. But Chelsea and Spurs. Well, Spurs gave Chelsea their first win since March 4th. In the Premier League.
You know what? I thought Spurs were doing really well until that first goal.
Yeah, no chance for Kinski. Like absolute
No,
screamer from Enzo Fernandez. Channeled his inner Frank Lampard, or he tried to imitate his new manager, Xabi
I
Alonso.
thought it was a very good shot from Fernandez. I thought Kinski, like I know the commentators were saying that he should have got that. There
No, I
was
don't think so.
too many defensive bodies in front of him that by the time he
That one
couldn't
was
see
just
it until the ball
the
was probably only
last.
10 yards out.
That one, I don't think any goalkeeper in the world's stopping
No,
that. What
no.
an absolute blast! One of the goals of the season.
I thought it was tough. It's kind of funny because it's one of those games where you look on paper and you wonder what was Tottenham doing, because they had they edged Chelsea in possession. They had a much higher XG than Chelsea,
They did.
but they couldn't get the job done. And I thought that Chelsea was just, they played a smarter game than Tottenham. There was moments in Tottenham where I think the expectation or the realization of how much this game means right now, a point would have saved them, kind of got to them. We saw that with players like Pedro Porro, who kind of seemed to lose his head at moments.
He did,
And you had to wonder if
going after like players.
You thought he was going to get a first half substitution, because I thought he was going to go out on a second yellow at times.
Me too.
Players, and even I would say players like Polina, who normally are very effective, were kind of quiet in this game. Matt Estelle, he went from.
He was effective.
Was he?
A little.
I don't know. He was very effective in the last game. Unfortunately, he also gave away a penalty. But in this one, I thought there was wide moments where he kind of went quiet. Again, the heart of this team right now, Richarlison, finds a way, scores a goal. And the funny thing is it seems like this is going to be, I was reading a thing, it's like the fourth year in a row where Tottenham's number one goal scorer is going to be transferred away, because right now Flamenco is interested in him, and it sounds like Tottenham wants to cash in on that. This was a game where I think, given how Chelsea has played in recent history, even though it was at Stamford Bridge, there was an opportunity to get at least that 1 point. And I kind of felt like Tottenham dropped the ball after that first goal. That first goal deflated them. I mean, you can correct me if you see something else, but I thought this was one of those matches that was there for the taking, and they kind of just let it slip through their fingers. Now, unfortunately, this means that Tottenham is going to have to wait to the final day to try and save their season. Right now, when you look at the overall table, Tottenham has 2 points on West Ham United.
Yep.
So if West Ham wins, Tottenham draws, that makes them even on points. But after that, the deciding factor is goal difference. Tottenham has a -10 goal difference. West Ham is -22. So unless West Ham decides to rewrite the history books, a draw is all Tottenham needs. But they have to face Everton, and that's going to be very, very difficult. Now, Everton has not looked – they have not looked well. They haven't won in the last 5.
Yep. I think their last win was probably against Chelsea.
Could be.
Of course.
But this is at Everton Stadium. I believe it's an away game. So, actually, no, it might be a home game. Am I wrong? Yeah, no, it's a home game. My mistake. So, Tottenham, to dare is to do. It's written around the stadium. Figure it out.
Yeah. As for Chelsea, well, they can somehow still qualify for Europa League.
Yeah.
If they beat Brighton if they beat Sunderland and Brighton beat Man United, or if United beat Brighton, can't remember what it was.
Well, you have to expect the way United's been going that they'll win.
Yeah, but and then a draw would be Conference League. At this point, I don't want Europe. Just play one game a week. Let Xabi Alonso focus on the domestic side. Make it a transition year.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and Paul Palmer was better yesterday. Nearly scored a banger himself.
Yep.
And then Liam Delap might be the worst striker I've ever seen to play for Chelsea, or worst striker I've ever seen. I don't know if he even makes Whitecaps SV2. Like, this guy can't win a duel. He can't control the ball. He can't shoot right. All he can do is get yellow cards. There's this one instance in the second half where he tried to go clear on him, and then he just pushes Tottenham defender.
Yeah. There was an interesting moment late in the game where Tottenham had a penalty shout.
I think that should have been a penalty.
And you know what? It was one of the strangest things. I don't think I've ever actually seen this in another game, where it was, I believe it was Cucurella, basically bear hugging Mickey Van de Ven, and was brought down in the box. So Cucurella was given a yellow card for it, but no penalty, because it happened about a full second before the corner kick was taken. So it was not considered to be a play that happened during active play, which that's the rule. That's the rule. Okay, fine. I get it. And yes, it was definitely before the ball was ever kicked. I think they were already lying on the pitch by the time the ball was kicked. But I don't think I've ever seen that where...
Me neither.
Because the play in the box and a yellow card's awarded, but no penalty.
That was weird, honestly.
It was weird. I mean, here I'm wishing to the end of days that a penalty would have been given.
I think,
but I get it. I get why one wasn't. But it was very strange, a very strange moment. I don't think I've seen that before, and I don't know if we'll ever see it again.
Yeah, I think Chelsea got away with something. Okay with it. Nah, I'll even admit.
Yeah, I'm sticking to that one.
Yeah. So, well, 8th place for Chelsea, and the new manager is Xabi Alonso. They actually did something right, Blueco, but that doesn't mean they're out of the woods yet.
No.
Because they must recruit better and get him the players he wants.
How much say is he going to get?
They say he's going to get a lot of say. I don't know how much, though.
They say it. How much is he going to get?
He is manager, not head coach.
Because
in the press releases, his manager. In the press releases for Rosignol, Maresca, Pochettino, Potter, head coach. And apparently, he's the first Chelsea manager to be not head coach since Mourinho, which is very interesting. I didn't know it was that long. Because so Conte, Sarri, and Lampard and Tuchel were head coach. He won't start working.
Conte would agree to that.
He somehow did and won a league title.
Yeah.
But of course, it ended poorly. Xabi Alonso won't start until July 1st. And people are wondering, why didn't he take the Liverpool job? It's because Liverpool want to keep Arne Slot.
Yeah. They're going to keep him for another year.
Which is a baffling decision. I thought Slot would have been sacked in March. Or even earlier than that. So, no Liverpool. Xabi Alonso wanted to live in London. He goes to Chelsea. Welcome, Gaffer. Excited, yeah, but doesn't mean anything unless they sign good players.
Yeah. You need a number 9.
It seems striker is the priority, since it seems Liam Delap will leave. They can have him for free. Ipswich scammed Chelsea $30 million. Names linked, of course, is one of them is Victor Osimhen.
Again.
Do you think will Chelsea actually pay him in the wages he wants because he's on like $300K a week at Galatasaray?
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. Igor Thiago, who's doing well at Brentford, but overall his link-up play and hold-up play, meh. Called up for Brazil, but not João Pedro. Jared Bowen, stringer and right winger who can plays at West Ham, meh. Fine as a backup, but I'm weary about signing another player from a relegation side after the lap.
Bowen, I will say this time and time again, if you need a guy that will put together a locker room with experience, I think Bowen is a good guy for that.
Bowen would be, for experience, sure, but
right,
not the worst idea in the world, but not a game changer.
No.
And of course, Kylian Mbappe, because the rumors saying, Xabi Alonso might want to bring Kylian Mbappe to Chelsea.
I don't know. I think there's a petition of about 40 million that would say fine.
After Xabi Alonso got sacked by Real Madrid, I think he'd think twice.
Yeah. I think he is done with that ego.
Yeah, I mean, might as well just stick with João Pedro as the star number 9. Maybe bring back Nicholas Jackson. Doesn't seem like that's the plan, though.
Why not?
I don't know what they'll do with striker. They need another winger. They need at least one center back, potentially another midfielder. Need a lot of things. So, Tottenham, final relegation spot down on the final day, and apparently they're linked to a guy that would have been exciting 10 years ago, Paulo
Because they were
Dybala.
linked to him 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They've been linked to
Yeah, they've been linked to this guy
Paulo
forever.
Dybala for 7-8 years. Like he was still with Juventus, like early days Juventus when they were linked with him. Again, I don't get this. Dybala is 32 now, playing with AS Roma. You need someone different than this. I don't know why they're trying to rehash these old looks at players. And I don't know why it always seems to be coming out of Italy. Like I got it when Paratici was sporting director and back in the day, because I mean that was his backyard. He understood the landscape there.
Yep.
But it's not that case anymore. So this seems to be almost a throwback to pre-COVID days. So I don't get it, but I mean at this point, it doesn't matter who Tottenham is linked to, because who they're linked to is going to change after next weekend. Are they Championship? Are they Premier League? That decides who they're going to get, who is actually legitimately who they can be linked with. So at this point, it's rumor, it's hearsay, it's, I don't know, hushed whispers behind closed doors. We'll wait and see what is going to be truth.
Yeah. Well,
so to the chagrin of you and me, Arsenal wins the Premier League.
We never thought this day would come. Never wanted this day to come.
22
years since the Invincibles. Arsenal have won the Premier League. They did it thanks to Bournemouth drawing against Man City. They beat Burnley in their own backyard, which was pretty boring, other than Piero Hincapie mooning the audience.
Well, and let's be honest, that is this season is kind of it was a boring trip to the trophy.
Well,
it was effective,
boring, but it
was effective, but it was boring to watch.
Yeah, especially with the compactness, the WWE corner style tactics. Of course, they scored on a corner. Against Burnley. The time wasting, the just constant passing around. It's terrorism, but it works. It led them to a title.
Good on Arteta.
Yep. Good on Arteta.
He did the job that he said. Good on Arsenal.
Longer than expected, but he did the job.
And the thing is this is going to bolster them heading into the Champions League final
against PSG.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow grind a win out of that. Hope not, but
two very, very contrasting styles. I really hope not. I don't like seeing this style of play rewarded, but it is effective.
It works.
It's very effective.
Oh, well, yeah. Congrats, Arsenal fans. I guess
we talked about it earlier. Yeah, we talked about it earlier that Pep Guardiola is officially now going to be leaving Man City. It sounds like one of your former guys is stepping in.
Yeah, it's confirmed. Here we go. And he's been linked to City since he got sacked by Chelsea. Yeah. Enzo Maresca will succeed him, which is a natural choice given their history together. Maresca was Pep's assistant during the treble year, and they play a very similar style of football.
Yeah,
not play, they coach. Oh, wow. It's going to be weird to see Pep not in the City dugout next year. You'd think he'd take a couple years off or something before maybe going to international management. I can't see him managing another club. I'd be surprised if he does.
There is already bets on where he's going to end up.
There's a ridiculous article saying maybe meet from Miami.
No, not a chance. There's a lot of rumors of him going back to Barcelona. But I do wonder if after the World Cup he's holding out for Spain.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's Catalan blood inside him, but
and the whole political
that's not an option. There. So
I think that Pep might be the greatest not just Premier League man, the greatest manager of all time, given he won the treble twice with different teams, all the trophies he's won, but not only that, the influence he has on the game.
That's very true. I always find it difficult to compare managers or players of different generations because the landscape was completely different. How the game was played, what was considered effective is completely different. I put him at the level of Ferguson. I don't want to really say which one was better or not because I consider them different, right? But I will say I think it is a fair shout to say he is the best. Now, whether that's a little bit of recency bias, I don't know. But
for me, it's the influence.
And I think you put it, it's his influence in the game that gives him that little added step.
Yeah,
how
given that
changed how the game is played in Spain, in Germany, now in England, and how he was able to take his style and he changed his style in every place as well. He is a guy that's willing to adapt.
He adapts English, like the English pragmatism, the Spanish tiki-taka, the German gegenpress. Like, nowadays teams are inverting their fullbacks.
Yeah.
Teams are cycling possession. And just given the amount of people who have been coaches, who either coached with him or played under him, Arteta, Luis Enrique learned from him.
Yeah.
Vincent Kompany, Xabi Alonso.
Maresca, who you just said.
Maresca, his successor. So many disciples of Pep.
For me, that's what gives him the edge is that influence. And that influence is also a product of our time as well, with the hyper communication that didn't really exist to that extent when, say, the heyday of Ferguson in the 90s and even into the 2000s.
You can't really think of a Ferguson disciple, other than Michael Carrick, I guess.
Solskjaer?
In a way, but not really successful.
Yeah. That influence, I don't know if the possibility of that level of influence existed in Ferguson's time.
Yeah. I mean, just the names for Pep, Maresca, Xabi Alonso, Arteta, Kompany. Huge names.
Huge names.
A bunch of these guys are elite managers.
Yeah.
So kudos to Pep. Don't know if we'll ever see anything like him again. And to end it, it kind of involves a Canadian player, Kyle Larin.
Yeah.
He's expelled from the Canadian Championship, the championship playoff final with Southampton because of the Spygate thing we mentioned last week.
Yeah, we talked about this last week. So basically what this is about, Leeds United in 2019 were fined for spying on Derby in a game. Because of that, they created what was called Regulation 127, which basically expressly forbids an opponent from observing the team that they're going to be playing within 72 hours of that upcoming match. Now, obviously, Southampton was guilty, like flat out guilty, even to the point where the chief executive, Phil Parsons, apologized to the other clubs that were involved, namely Middlesbrough, who they were spying on, and Hull City, who is in the final on the other side of the bracket. Now, Southampton is appealing this because they said that the punishment is disproportionate to the crime. Now, Leeds United back in the day was fined £200,000. And that was back when they were in the championship. So £200,000 in the championship is more significant than, say, £200,000 in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But that was just an everyday game in January. The game was just a random league game. This is a game to get into the most expensive game in football in the world. The championship final, the winner goes to the Premier League, and hundreds of millions of pounds are awarded in terms of
they get like
deals,
200 million
everything else that you get. It is considered the most expensive game in terms of what teams get as a reward in the world, in world football. So the stakes of this one matter so much more. Now, the appeal is supposed to happen today. We'll wait and see what happens because Southampton has been expelled from the playoffs. Middlesbrough has been reinstated. Now, the one thing that I thought was really interesting is the EFL has decided that the final game is still happening on the same day.
It is just an hour later.
But I'm wondering, has Middlesbrough been training?
That's what I'm wondering too. And
right, like, or have they just been sitting off because technically they were done, they were ready for golf? And so now, did Middlesbrough say, "No, we're going to keep doing this"? Now, one of the interesting things is Middlesbrough was not named as one of the interested parties in all this, which meant that depending on the outcome, they were not going to be allowed to appeal a decision. Pissed off Middlesbrough to no end. So Middlesbrough put out a statement before the ruling saying this is what should happen and it should be expulsion. So I do wonder if they kind of forced the EFL's hand a little bit. And then Hull City also said, well, I mean, we're playing one of these teams. We need to know who we're playing against. We're an interested party as well. So it was kind of a strange situation.
Tactics. So, and I'm wondering too, the whole logistics thing, like getting the fans to travel to Wembley and all that, like,
yeah,
such short notice.
I mean, it's football in England; they'll figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, trains suck though.
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
Yeah. So right now, the final is Hull versus Middlesbrough. That could change.
Yep,
we'll have to wait and see when this happens. It'll happen sometime later today. It's going to be an independent league arbitration panel that is going to rule on this. But the interesting thing is, this is the very first ruling for Regulation 127. What happened in Leeds, that this rule didn't exist. This rule was created because of it. So this is the first time we're seeing this used, and that is going to be very, very important in the future. Because what they decide, if they decide that expulsion sticks, that is a huge punishment, and that teams are going to now remember, you do this, this can happen. I'll say it right now. I hope the punishment sticks. It is a massive punishment, but I believe for the nature of this crime. And the thing is a lot of people are pulling up the Canadian women's team as an example for what happened when they were in the Olympics.
Oh, yeah,
they were given a 6-point deduction in the group stage. Coaches were sent home. Coaches lost their jobs, obviously, and other technical staff as well. It's tough to compare the two because domestic football, a national tournament, it's like, and Canada was not expelled from the tournament, but people are pulling that up as here's another example of something that happened. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. See where this goes. See where the appeal goes, actually, first. Yeah. And who Hull will actually play at Wembley on Saturday.
Hull's waiting in the wings. I mean, I get it. Kind of sucks for Hull as well. And they weren't even involved in this match.
Yeah, and now they don't even know who they're going to play. And they have to adjust accordingly.
Well, not only that, but you're not allowed to look at a team 72 hours beforehand, right?
Yeah.
Well, once this ruling finally comes down, we're getting very close to that 72 hours. So it's like, I guess you're I mean, it's not like you can't watch tape from the entirety of this last season.
You can.
There's hours and hours and hours to go through, but it does change the nature,
the way you set up, the way, which players you start.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, wow, we'll see where this goes. So that concludes this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Whitecaps San Diego this Saturday. Last game before the World Cup break. After that, mostly World Cup stuff we'll talk about. We'll probably do a big World Cup preview show at the point.
Yep.
End of the Premier League season. Transfer season is soon.
Silly season.
Rise are playing, get some games. They're in the middle of their season.
Yeah.
Follow along on Area 51 Sports Network and this podcast. Follow me on Twitter, Josh00, podcast at Terminal City FC, Nathan and Durek. We're on Blue Sky, Instagram, and YouTube as well. Hello to everyone watching live on our YouTube and Air View on Twitter, and everyone listening on the podcast feed. So that concludes this week's episode. Peace out.
Take care.